Point of view, your armor and the armor she told you not to worry about. Hey everyone, welcome back to the range. My name is Matt. Get ready, get set. Let's dive into a firearm review today. This gun is from KelTec. This weird space gat is their P50 chambered in my favorite caliber, 5.7x28mm. This magazine dump for our KelTec P50 is brought to you by Target Sport USA. Their Prime membership, I believe, is $100 for the year, but it gets you quite a few perks. You get the free shipping on any order, early stock notification, a discount on all of your ammunition, and priority order fulfillment over non-Prime members. If you all just happen across my channel, I'm like the self-appointed king of all things 5.7x28mm. If I can get my dirty paws on different firearms chambered in that caliber, you bet your sweet booty I'm going to do my best to review them. Let's dive into this review today from KelTec. Before we start this review, I'd like to thank KelTec, who in full transparency provided us with this P50 to review with no strings attached. There's a lot of other vendors who I'd like to thank as well. Target Sports USA for throwing a couple boxes of 5.7x28mm our way for shooting some freedom seeds. We've got Vanguard Outfitters, Elite Ammunition, FN Specialties, as well as R&R Weapon Systems. All of those different vendors have helped supported me in my 5.7 endeavors over the last many years. And you know, that help is greatly appreciated. I think in the last 2.5 years, I've put over 6,500 rounds of ammo through various 5.7x28mm firearms. Now, I'm known for being very methodical and data-driven in my videos, and we start all of our reviews out with our basic specifications. So let's dive into our P50 specs. Our overall length is 15 inches without the pistol brace that you see here. Our width is a very thick but manageable 2 inches. Our height, without the optic, from the bottom of the pistol grip to the top of the rail here, is 6.7 inches. Our weight on our P50 is 3.2 pounds, which puts it at one of the lightest 5.7x28mm firearms in the PCC PDW space besides the Diamondback DBX, which I think is just a tad lighter. Our barrel length is 9.6 inches with a 1-in-9 twist. We have 1/2x28 threads up front for muzzle devices and or suppressors. Our magazine capacity is a standard 50 rounds. There are 30 and 10 round variants available. This actually uses our FN P90 magazines. You can use the OEM ones or various aftermarket KCI or AR-57 or Pro Mag variants. Our MSRP is $795 dues, and black is our only color, and our serialized portion is the upper receiver, which houses the barrel and action. Starting at the front, our 9.6 inch barrel, as mentioned, has 1/2x28 threads. Our upper receiver is made from aluminum and has a full-length 1913 Picatinny rail in front of our ejection port for all of your optic and accessory mounting. A low-profile set of iron sights are recessed into the rail, but I will admit that they are not the easiest to acquire. Red dot and other optics are welcomed here. I poo on the TRS-25 from Bushnell, but for a majority of our review, we ran the Bushnell TRS-26 without any complaints. The ejection port is up top, and brass is thrown quite a ways in the 5 to 6 o'clock position as with almost 5.7x28mm firearms. The charging handle is on the rear of the upper receiver, akin to our standard AR-15. Out back is our takedown lever, which allows the magazine to be changed. You actually split the top open here and change the magazine out that way. We have ambidextrous lever-style safety selectors. There's a weird curved cutout for the trigger, which can be used to grip the gun, but after SHOT Show 2022, it was discovered that a folding wire stock from KelTec will sit in this recess and attach on the bottom of our grip. A 16-inch barrel will accompany that as well. A long 1913 rail is up front, and there are 2 QD sling points on the rear. A few companies make brace adapters, and the one that I have here is made from Custom Smith Manufacturing. This is a 3D printed part. My only complaint is that it shrouds our takedown lever a little bit, and it covers up too much of the area behind the safety selector, making it hard for you to flick down sometimes. I guess I must just have weak thumbs. Charging your P50 and changing your magazines is accomplished very easily. Now, changing the magazine isn't as fast as an AR-15, but you've got 50 rounds at your disposal. So charging it, the charging handle has a lever on the left side, and you just need to decouple that, and you pull straight back and let that guy go straight home. If you want to change the magazine, you do use the release lever in the rear, and you'll pull the top and bottom apart. You can move the top all the way to the forward position. It kind of goes to a 90. You can actually push it past, and it'll kind of lock in place. There's like a little hydraulic piston up front that kind of pushes it back, and then you just take your magazine out, and you put a new one in and kind of make sure that it's seated towards the back. It definitely helps if you hold the gun level. You know, if you hold it with the muzzle down like that, the magazine will want to go forward, but it will all line up when you smack it down. Now, an advantage to the Pro Mag and some of the aftermarket mags is they have a little rectangle mold sticking out of the top of the magazine, and it actually will sit in this little recessed area on our P50 frame. So it's kind of like a neat little holder, but you get that magazine in there, slap the top down, hold the charging handle, and you're ready to go. 2 50-round Pro Mags are included with our KelTec P50, and I've actually not had any feeding issues with them whatsoever. Kind of strange for a Pro Mag because they're not known for being reliable, but so far so good. But our round count overall on them is low. I find it intriguing that they're using little tiny screws to hold the cover plate on the top of the magazine. I guess that could be a good thing because I have blown some of the plastic covers off of FN magazines. I think I have one in my P90 that I've used since I've got it, and the years of shooting it suppressed, and I think the degradation of plastic finally made those pop off, and then I ended up just super gluing it back on. So I guess it could be said that those screws will help with longevity. As far as field stripping goes, I gotta give KelTec a nod here. They did a really good job of making this thing super simple to take apart in case you need to do any cleaning and or maintenance. Obviously, make sure your gun is empty. We want to push our takedown lever and separate the upper from the lower. You can then flip the gun around so that your upper is on your desk, and we have this little block here that locks into the barrel assembly. You'll just pull that up a little bit so it clears. And you can actually pull your charging handle out, and you just kind of lift this whole assembly out and up. And here is your operating bolt assembly, recoil springs, and all of that in one little unit. And then what's left inside of our receiver is our barrel. And that's all there is to it. There's no weird takedown, advanced degree needed to field strip this. Super easy. As far as reassembly goes, take your charging handle, set it in your upper receiver, take your operating assembly. There's 2 holes in the front that those recoil rods go into. You can kind of just set your bolt carrier behind your barrel there. You pull that block back and make sure it goes under the little tabs on your barrel there. And that's all there is to it. Our trigger pull on our P50 measured right around 3 pounds even. Got to give another nod to KelTec there. Any of their firearms that I've shot, the CMR30 and PMR30 and the P50 have always had really light triggers. Now the travel, pull, and break has always been my complaint on them. This one's a little bit mushy on the P50 and has a little bit of over travel. Wouldn't mind seeing a flat-faced option with a little less travel in it. The wall of truth in our KelTec P50. There's our reset right there. You can see there's a little bit of over travel there. And all the way out, we get to a wall there. You can tell it's not the most firm wall. And there's your over travel. If we got rid of that over travel, I think it'd be a lot better trigger. I wouldn't be an ammo nerd if we didn't take a slice out of our review to talk about the ballistics of our KelTec P50. Compared to the FN P90's 10.4-inch barrel, our P50's 9.6-inch barrel is producing roughly the same velocities. Now I know 5.7x28 isn't everyone's flavor, but I often get asked, what the best recommendations are for self-defense, personal protection, duty use ammo in these guns. My top choices have always been the Black Dragon Fang from Vanguard Outfitters, Elite Ammunition's T6B, their Devastator 2.0 and 3.0, their Protector 1, as well as their S4. R&R Weapon Systems also has a very nice expanding 37 grain copper load, which is the R37X. Spear Gold Dot, Spear 2 years ago released the Gold Dot. That is also another viable load as well. SS198 and SS190 work as well too, but they are on the bottom of my list for preferred loads because of their limited penetration in gel. Of course, SS190 tops them all in terms of being able to penetrate soft body armor, but I feel that those two loads have given 5.7 a bad rap in law enforcement use. I wanted to quickly touch on another aspect of our 5.7 ballistics in that it often gets compared to our 22 Magnum. Right here I have both gold dot loadings from Spear, one in our 22 Magnum and the other in 5.7. I actually have two videos that I did a long time ago. I'll link them in the description and in a card comparing these two loads together. And in my professional opinion, this load vastly outpaces the performance of this load, mainly because this load's only loaded to around 20-some thousand PSI and this one is upwards of 50,000. And both of the bullets are constructed completely different. This is a bonded bullet, and in this bullet we had some jacket separation depending on the barrel length we were testing them out of. As far as our velocity goes, our 5-inch 5.7 firearm was hitting velocities that our 16-inch CMR 30 couldn't. In addition to the vastly different bullet constructions that you'll find in these two cartridges, 22 Magnum is also rimfire and subject to all types of reliability issues, no matter what anybody says how reliable their rimfire is. Our KelTec P50 operates on a blowback principle, with the exception of the Diamondback DBX, which is actually gas piston driven. Most all 5.7x28mm firearms are some type of variation of blowback. Our P90 is a type of delayed blowback, and this is where a word of caution comes in with our KelTec P50. When I got this P50 in for review last June, yeah, it's been that long, I'm sorry, I like to give you guys as much quality as possible, and sometimes I need to know when to shut up and finish a review. But when I first took it out, I was seeing signs of overpressure in the terms of flattening primers with our common loads such as our American Eagle TMJ, SS197, and SS198 LF. Based on the fact that we believe this is a direct blowback action, it wasn't allowing the shoulder to actually bump back as it does in other firearms, so that extra pressure, or however it was working out, was actually putting more strain on the case in the primer area. The action was not allowing the shoulder to bump forward and instead was stretching the case too much. This led to a neck separation of a previous round. Then the subsequent round was fed into the gun, discharging, causing a kaboom! KelTec was on point with checking the pistol, making any necessary repairs. Luckily, the only broken part was the magazine and charging handle. It did bend this cross pin back here that's used for latching, and they replaced that. If you have an early P50 that doesn't have the polished recoil rods, I recommend you contact KelTec and get your P50 sent in for some internal upgrades. Upgraded parts include our barrel and bolt carrier assembly. Our original P50 barrel actually had a feed ramp built into the bottom of the barrel, which I felt was a good addition for allowing some of our different bullet nose types for better feeding, but this particular revision that I have now no longer has that feed ramp. After KelTec made these repairs, any subsequent rounds that I've fired through this gun have actually had properly bumped shoulders, and our primers are looking much more normal. I do notice that they still are a little bit flat, but they are not as flat as they were before the upgrades were made. We currently have approximately 800 plus rounds through our P50. We've run various types of ammo through the gun. R&R Weapon Systems Nor brass or black brass is the only one that's giving me fits. Typically it acts like the extractor isn't grabbing the case. I have not had any issues with Vanguard's 5.7 brass, and with news that AAC is coming out with 5.7 ammo, as well as Fiocchi coming out with some. I can't wait to run those different ammo types through this to see how they work. I will note that when this gun gets dirty in the chamber, there is something in the manual that mentions that you clean it out so often. On to our likes with our P50. I like that this thing is 3 pounds and very compact. If you add a pistol brace or you SBR this is like the perfect backpack gun for people. You've got 50 rounds on tap, a very small package that you could and can shoot single-handedly, or with an SBR or brace, you can do your magic and have very good control of this with a lot of rounds down range. I like that it has a threaded muzzle. You can shoot the P50 suppressed with supers or subs, or mount any kind of muzzle brake or flash hider if needed. It has a unique design that KelTec is known for, and its price point gets you into the longer barrel 5.7 game for less than a PS90, the CMMG MK57, and even our Diamondback DBX. Sure, when they first come out, they're always fetching 1.5 to 3 times what they're worth, but that always happens with everything KelTec, and if you wait long enough, you can get these for less than MSRP. Now on to some dislikes and concerns I have with our KelTec P50. Our threaded muzzle doesn't have much of a shoulder and really should have more clearance between the front of our receiver and the muzzle threads. It was really hard to get a wrench in there to mount some of the muzzle brakes on. The action and operating mechanism. I like the simplicity of the P50's operation, but being straight blowback, or that's what I'm going to call it anyways, may be a limiting factor when wanting to use some of our hotter loads. That's what she said. Subsonics ran fine in this gun though. The other area of concern is our loading and unloading process. It is a little bit slow, but practice makes perfect. After a little while, you can stare at a camera and get it in there and slam the top shut. But you do have 50 rounds on tap in between each magazine change. All in all, KelTec always wins for the most interesting designs and the strive to think outside of the box. If you're looking at getting something in 5.7x28mm and you want to take advantage of the better ballistics that longer barrels have to offer, but you want to remain compact and small, it's really hard not to give the KelTec P50 a look. Well, it's time for me to hit the hay so I can recover from today's workout, which was a snatch complex of 5 full squat snatches, 3 hang squat snatches, and 1 overhead squat. It was a 3-minute EMOM for 7 rounds, so my legs need some recovery time. But at the end of all my videos, I take a moment to thank all those who helped make these possible, because there's a lot that goes into these. Number 1 is my Patreon and Subscribestar fans. I have a link tree in the description below. Like many other content creators, there's different ways to contact me or support me, either directly through those crowdsourced funding options or through affiliate links. Number 2 is KelTec, again in full transparency, provided this channel with a P50 to review with no strings attached. Number 3 is Target Sports USA, Elite Ammunition, R&R Weapon Systems, Vanguard Outfitters, and FN Specialties for the support in obtaining ammunition, because it hasn't been easy in 5.7. And of course, number 4 is you all for watching. Until next time, I'll catch you at the range. Light primer strike there. Oh, it didn't cycle. This should be sub again.